The digestive system, the blood sugar system, and then the adrenal thyroid complex, these 3 points always precede disease. And if you have a chronic degenerative disease of any kind, you could pretty much assume that you got a hypothyroid condition, that you have dysglycemia or messed up blood sugar, and you have a digestive issue. These precede all chronic diseases, so no matter what your disease is, these things are going to be somewhere lurking behind them. But we never really talked about each one individually. So I thought maybe it might be important to talk a little bit about diabetes. We get tons of letters about this, and I find this condition, diabetes, or as I like to call it, dysglycemia, messed up blood sugar, to be super tragic. For one thing, it is, according to statistics, the 3rd leading cause of death, but when you factor its relationship to heart disease, which is the leading cause of death, and cancer, you probably have the single most important reason why we drop dead early, and not to mention suffer all inflammatory symptoms, which is to say all symptomology, because of messed up blood sugar. And the reason this is so tragic is because it's so darn easy to control. I don't know if you're like me and you notice all of these commercials for anti-diabetic medication. It's like we're bombarded with all of these strategies, pharmacomedical strategies, pharmacological strategies for dealing with diabetes, which at the end of the day is an eating issue. Now, there's 2 reasons why blood sugar goes up, to be fair. One is because of internal reasons, that is stress hormone cortisol, and elevations in stress hormone can cause blood sugar to rise. But really, from the most part, the reason our blood sugar increases, we have high levels of sugar in the blood, which is how you define diabetes, is from eating. So the simple solution to all diabetic symptomology is to change the way you eat. Now, this is easier said than done because we are hardwired from hundreds of thousands of years of evolution to be sugar-seeking machines. So it's easy to say, just stop eating sugar or at least reduce your amount of sugar that we eat, but that's not necessarily enough because we're hardwired to go seek sugar. You've heard the stories about sugar being like cocaine and how it's addicting and how rats will hit a little lever until they die in order to get a sugar pellet. And that's the way it is. We have hardwiring that compels us to eat sugar. So simply to say, don't eat sugar isn't going to be enough. You got to have some strategies for doing it. So I want to talk today about some really easy strategies for reducing the amount of sugar that we eat, ultimately for reducing our blood sugar. So first of all, the most important thing you could do to reduce the amount of sugar that you're eating is to hack into your sugar drives. That is, to somehow figure out a way to go into the sugar-seeking behavior machinery in the brain and sort of hack into it. The simplest way to do that is to eat more protein. Simple as that. There's a couple of reasons for it, but most importantly, it's because our brain can run on protein, specifically glutamine, or actually something that glutamine gets turned into, which is called an element or a amino acid-like substance called glutamic acid. So the brain can run on glutamic acid, which is derived from glutamine. So the simplest thing you could do right off the bat is get on a glutamine supplement. That alone will create a reduction in your sugar drives. Second thing you could do is eat something called branched chain amino acids. Branched chain amino acids, are also called BCAAs for short, are found in high protein foods, and they've been shown to improve the body's ability to process sugar. So in addition to supplementing with glutamine, you can also make sure that you're eating fish and meat and beans and legumes and nuts and other high protein foods. Third thing about protein is it's very satisfying and very filling. And after a high protein meal or after eating a lot of protein, you don't tend to be as hungry. So number one, you're going to get glutamine. Number two, you're going to get branched chain amino acids. And three, you're going to improve a sense of fullness in the body. So first things first, eat more protein, including branched chain amino acids and glutamine. The second thing you could do is drink more water. Number one, drinking water will create a sense of satiety. It'll fill you up. But even more importantly, drinking water will dilute your blood, and thereby diluting the concentration of sugar in your blood, diluting your blood sugar. This is especially true if you fall off the wagon, if you're trying to reduce your sugar intake, but you go to a party and eat a bunch of cake or whatever, binge on your cherry pie or pasta or rice or whatever it is. Make sure you're eating a lot of sugar or drinking a lot of water after you eat a lot of sugar. The third thing you could do is make sure you're eating a lot of fiber. Fiber has a filling effect, like protein and like water, but it also has a sweeping effect. It can help sweep out excess sugar from the body. So making sure you're eating veggies or even grinding up fiber. In fact, I like grinding up fiber first thing in the morning. It fills me up, and I can go a lot longer without having to eat. I can skip breakfast quite easily, actually, by grinding up flaxseed fiber in a coffee grinder and drinking it down. I happen to do a lot, plus it's great for your digestive system too. It cleans you out that way as well. So it'll help clean out sugar, it'll help clean out toxins, and it's a great way to clean out your intestines on top of that, and plus it's filling. I grind up flaxseed fiber every morning. I mix it in with a little water. Sometimes I'll put a little coconut milk or almond milk in with it, stir it up, and it's almost like a pudding. And I do a lot of it. And it's great for your digestive system, let me tell you. Plus it's also... Plus,
a bag of flaxseed in the fridge and
grind it up. Make sure you grind it up in a coffee grinder.
That's going to happen tomorrow morning.
Good deal. Let me know how that works. Now, here's the thing about flaxseed: you got to grind them up. If you don't grind them up, they're going to pass right through. You're going to lose the fiber effects. Another neat benefit that you get from grinding up flaxseed fiber is you get protein from the flaxseed fiber, you get vitamin E from the flaxseed fiber, you get omega fats from the flaxseed fiber, in addition to all the wonderful benefits for the fiber. And for women, this is great for helping clear out excess estrogen. And for folks who are dealing with autoimmune diseases, which we talked about earlier on an earlier post about how autoimmune diseases are related to a problem with processing estrogen, fiber can help clear out excess estrogen and can support your bile system. So multiple benefits by grinding up fiber in the morning. Plus it's really filling, so it'll allow you to skip breakfast. You probably won't even need to eat until 11 or 12 o'clock, which is always a good thing. Another thing you can do is make sure you're using sugar metabolizing nutrients that help your body process sugar, and there's a slew of them. Probably the most important, I don't say the most, but near the top of the list are the B vitamins, especially vitamins B1 and B3, thiamine and niacin. Now, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a wonderful source of the B vitamins. Fresh vegetables are also a good source of the B vitamins, or you can supplement with these individually, vitamin B1 and B3. B3 in particular is part of what's called the glucose tolerance complex, the GTC, and you can actually get timed release niacin, 100 milligrams or 200 milligrams timed release niacin, and you can use that supplementally. You'll get all the added benefits of niacin, which include helping stabilize blood fats, in addition to helping stabilize sugar. It's a wonderful way to lower cholesterol, and it's very important for brain health too, and also has an important role to play with the digestive system and in skin health. In fact, niacin deficiency has been known to cause a disease called pellagra, which is associated with red skin. Down south, they used to eat a lot of vitamin B3 deficient foods. In fact, they subsisted on vitamin B3 deficient foods, and they used to get red necks when they were out working in the sun, thus the term redneck. That's just an interesting little nutritional story there for you, Jonty. Other nutrients that are important for helping stabilize blood sugar: omega fatty acids, particularly omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are deficient in the standard American diet, hard to find in foods. Flax seeds will get you some omega-3 fatty acids, chia seeds, hemp seeds. Fish is one of the best sources of omega-3 fatty acids, and of course there's omega supplements, essential fatty acid supplements, which I highly recommend everybody takes, the Ultimate EFA and Ultimate EFA Plus. Also, the mineral magnesium, amazing for supporting blood sugar health and improving insulin sensitivity, and like the omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium deficiency is very common. Magnesium is always going to be found in green foods. The color green, magnesium actually has the color green. So whenever you see green leafy vegetables or green vegetables, you're looking at magnesium. Make sure you're eating your greens, and you can also, of course, supplement with magnesium too. Selenium is also very important for helping with the blood sugar. Sulfur is actually a molecule in the chemical insulin, so making sure you're getting enough sulfur. Both selenium and sulfur tend to be deficient in the standard American diet. You can supplement with both. MSM sulfur is the best way to get your sulfur in a supplemental fashion. And then also, probably the two most famous minerals that are important for or recognized for helping stabilize blood sugar are chromium and vanadium. Chromium, like niacin, is part of the glucose tolerance complex. Actually, the glucose tolerance factor it's called. And the glucose tolerance factor, using chromium supplements can help you make the glucose tolerance factor along with niacin. So supplementing with chromium and vanadium after you eat sweet meals is very helpful. And that's important. Not only do you want to supplement with all of these magnesium and omega-3 fatty acids and selenium and chromium and vanadium and the B complex, not only do you want to supplement with them in general, but you especially want to supplement with them either during your meals or after your meal. So you can sip on your Beyond Tangy Tangerine while you're eating your meals. That will help you process your sugar. And you can also supplement with your Sweeties and your selenium and your MSM sulfur after meals to help make sure.
Now, the Sweeties has chromium and
Yes,
vanadium in it.
chromium, vanadium, and a couple other things in there that help stabilize blood sugar. I love cinnamon, by the way, for spice because, number one, it tastes great. Cinnamon also amplifies the flavor of sugar. So if you do have a little bit of sugar, you'll need to eat a lot less if you put a little cinnamon in there. Plus, cinnamon has a very blood sugar stabilizing effects on its own. Also, the herb fenugreek is also good for helping stabilize blood sugar. So there's lots of nutritional and nutritional supplemental strategies that you can use to help stabilize blood sugar, and this is really important because the medical model isn't talking about any of these. We believe that diabetes is some kind of curse that we have, and it's not. It is 100% reversible, because it's simply a chemical process or a disruption in a chemical process. Once you correct that chemical process, the blood sugar system will straighten itself out. And considering that it is at least the third leading cause of death, maybe the first leading cause of death when you factor in cancer and heart disease and its relationship to those two illnesses, the tragedy of this thing is beyond belief. Nobody has to suffer with diabetes. And by the way, when you do all of these strategies that stabilize your blood sugar, your cholesterol will drop, your blood fats will drop, and you will lose weight. And it will happen spontaneously, and it will happen easily. And if you have any inflammatory diseases, those will tend to really subside as well. The inflammation will tend to subside as well.
So blood sugar imbalance ends up causing problems essentially for the pancreas because it's trying to deal with a roller coaster situation.
Among other systems, yes, the pancreas is involved, absolutely. So yes, you'll end up with pancreatic issues because pancreas, I've always said, is the Mr. Cellophane of the body. It could be the most important organ of the body via its connection to making enzymes. Enzymes are important for all the chemical processes in the body, and the pancreas is a house of enzymes. It's where many of the enzymes in the body are produced. This is why pancreatic cancer has a reputation for being the most deadly of all cancers, because the pancreas is so darn important. And as you point out, if the pancreas is off cranking out insulin because the body's not being responsive to insulin, then that's going to put an added burden on this very important structure. I should say one last thing. Caloric restriction alone, just restricting the amount of calories that you eat, intermittent fasting, fasting in general, can be another wonderful strategy for supporting pancreatic health and restoring the body's sensitivity to insulin. You've got to be careful a little bit with intermittent fasting if you have a blood sugar problem, because the first part of your fasting is going to cause a release of sugar into the blood because the body doesn't like low blood sugar. So you want to stay away from a hypoglycemia condition, a low blood sugar condition, and intermittent fasting for some folks can be a problem because of this hypoglycemia that will induce a surge in blood sugar in response to the low blood sugar. So if you're noticing that you're hypoglycemic when you're starting to fast, you may want to start to eat a little bit of maybe vegetables or lemon juice or something along those lines, maybe a bite of an apple, just to make sure you don't go into low blood sugar, which will cause a spike in your blood sugar in response.